Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Nick from ForexNews.com with the daily analysis. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking for price action setups across all of these pairs listed to the right here, or most of them anyway. And we're going to be discussing some of the setups from earlier this week, some of the setups from last week, some of the setups I suggested that you guys close out, how they're doing, and yeah, we're just going to be doing some analysis. So let's just dive right into it. First things first, GBP USD. This is a position that I kind of shared, but technically it was shared with me, and then I shared it with you guys in the analysis. It was shared with me by one of my mentoring students, Tommy, but also by Sue. And a few other people were also taking it. I mean, it was a pretty obvious setup, so a lot of people did end up seeing it before me because they just happened to be looking at their charts before I did. So I'm not going to take credit for this setup, but regardless, I got in, and it's doing quite well. It did pull back a little bit yesterday due to the news that came out, the FOMC report. It did pull back a little bit, but it seems to have mostly recovered and it's on its way up. I see no reason to close this out. Still hold on to this one, in my opinion. GBPCAD, this is another currently open setup. This one's going much better. It didn't really have that pullback, so this one looks like it's just going to keep going straight up. Again, I would just hold on to this one. That would be my suggestion to you. If you're in this, just hold on to this one. AUDJPY. Now, this is one of the setups that I suggested that you close out yesterday. Yesterday, during the analysis, I believe it was kind of up here at the 76.88. And, hey, Olu, I suggested that you start considering an exit plan because it just didn't look like it was going well. So I do hope you guys close this one out. Because obviously if you didn't, it's well, it wouldn't have hit your stop loss, but now it's a negative and you could have got out with a little bit of a gain on this one. So the blue ones are the ones that I said to close yesterday. I just marked them blue. AUD New Zealand, same thing here. I suggested that this one was closed out yesterday. Just because it really wasn't going well. It was retracing back to the entry. So again, your stop loss would not have been hit yet, but if you exited yesterday, you would have exited with a little bit of profit. If you exited today, or sometime later yesterday, you might have exited with a bit of a loss there. If you exit right now, you're going to exit with a bit of a loss. But I do hope you guys close those ones out. They just weren't performing very well, so no sense in keeping them open. Now, the other one I suggested you guys close out was USDCHF. I believe I said yesterday, if it gets back down to these lows, like we had seen for the past 3 days, so, around about down here, it made complete sense to close it out. Now, my reasoning for that is because the swap is not that great on USDCHF, so you're basically paying to be in the trade, and when it comes to like 8, 9, 10 pips that you can, an extra 9 or 10 pips that you can make by just holding onto this stubbornly instead of closing it out here, it's costing you more eventually to stay in the trade than to just close it out and lose those extra 10 pips. So again, I hope you guys close this one out because it did pull back quite a way. It pulled back with the FOMC, so it could just head back down here. There's nothing saying this one won't head back down. The pullback was related to FOMC, so it's like GBP USD, which is now pulling back. So if you're still in this one, if you didn't close it out, don't be too worried about it. It does look like it'll probably start going back down, but yeah, you probably should have closed it out. Righto, so EURJPY, Euro USD. We've been waiting for a while for price to kind of make its way up to resistance here because I was looking for an overall short trade here, but I wanted to take the short from resistance. I didn't feel comfortable entering before resistance, and this is for both Euro USD and EURJPY. Unfortunately, it just never really happened, and especially EURJPY, it started to move down before reaching and stalling on this resistance area. So it's a shame. We've been monitoring them for a while, hoping for price to push up high enough for us to enter a trade, but it didn't quite happen. You know, that's just trading for you, isn't it? AUDCAD, we got a bit of a stall out on resistance yesterday, but that candle was pretty big. I'm going to be a bit patient here and just wait for price to stall out at resistance a bit more. And AUDUSD, we were waiting for price to push up to resistance, and I'm still waiting for that. I'm very interested in taking a short from this resistance area on AUDUSD. Yesterday it pulled back again with FOMC. It's going back to where it was pre-FOMC. So let's just see how that goes. Oh, and one thing that I wanted to mention today, guys, which is why I have the calendar up. For the GBP USD position we're in, it is kind of important to take the monetary policy summary and the official bank rate into consideration. Now, I know yesterday I went quite in depth, or I think it was the day before, saying that I don't really care that much about the FOMC report because it will probably have a minor impact anyway. The reason I'm a little bit more apprehensive about the interest rate statement out of the UK is simply because there's a lot of stuff going on in the UK right now. I mean, we've got Brexit. Talks about Brexit have started heating up again. Some craziness has been said. It's a very tumultuous situation right now in the UK. Things just things are just kind of on edge, let's say. So this bank rate can have a bigger impact than it normally would. So yeah, that's just something that I'm a little concerned about. Now, I'm not really going to do anything. I'm going to just hold on to the position. If it turns around, it turns around. I'm hoping it doesn't, but if it does, it does. But it's just something to be aware of, that can have a pretty big impact, I would say. It's not so much about will the rate change. I doubt the rate's going to change. I'm pretty sure it's going to stay here at 0.10. I'm pretty sure the votes are probably going to remain the same. It's more about what's said during the summary or in the summary. What's going to be said in the summary. This could have a big impact. So, I mean, we'll find out in about 2 hours, won't we? Right, so let's look for some new setups if there is anything new. It's been quite a good week so far. I don't know if we're going to get anything new. Well, look, I took EURJPY off the list, but let's actually keep it on the list and see what happens at this support area. Now, I'm hesitant to go long on EURJPY, but if it does completely stall out on this support area, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bit of a little pullback here. So I'm just going to keep my options open, keep an eye on this for a potential reversal from here. Now, it's unlikely to happen. I think the most likely scenario is that it's just going to push straight through here. And if that's the case, I wouldn't really be looking to get into a trade as there's no bearish trend, and it's just not the type of trade that I would personally do. But if it stalls out today, if it pulls back up and it has clear trouble at this support area, then I might be willing to go in long somewhere. It's unlikely, but like I said, keep options open. I'll keep an eye on it. Now, I know... Wait, let me just double check something. There was another trade opened from... GBP New Zealand. So it was this one. Right, okay. I'll get to that in a sec. So let's just go back to GBP AUD. Nothing there, nothing there. Nothing here. GBPJPY might be falling into a bit of a range. Yeah, it's not a great range though. I know this is a weird time frame, the 2 hour. The reason I'm going to the 2 hour chart is just because visually it's going to help me draw these kind of boundary lines on the range, but it's not a time frame that I'm actually going to trade. I'll go back to the 1 hour. So we definitely have a range here. The question is this range tradable? Because you can have all the ranges you want, but if they're really, really, really messy, it's going to be hard to take trades there. Or you're just going to have to hold trades for a very long time. So for example, if you shorted the top of this range here on GBPJPY, you'd be in this trade for, and this is a 1 hour chart, you'd be in this trade for, before hitting target, 15 hours. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're trading the 1 hour chart, 15 hours is a somewhat significant amount of time. So when you're trading the 1 hour chart, you're more looking for trades that go kind of quick towards your target. A few hours, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. 15 hours is kind of pushing it, but you could still take that trade. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it took a while to get where it was going. And when you're trading the lower time frames, you don't want your money wrapped up in a trade for 15 hours when you could be taking other trades. So all that is to say that this range is quite clearly an active range, but it's a bit of a messy one. It might be a bit tricky to trade. I won't be looking for a long from this range, but I will be looking for a short when it hits the top there. I'm just not 100% confident in this range because of the reasons I mentioned about it being a bit slow. So let's just see how that goes when it hits the top of the range. Probably won't happen until tomorrow, so not worried too much about that. Where was I? GBP New Zealand. I wanted to quickly chat about that. Now, this support area on GBP New Zealand's a bit. It's a bit of a wide support area. I've placed it all the way down here, but you could easily argue that support is up here. It's basically all throughout here support. One of my mentoring students went long on this setup here, so I'm not in this. It's just something that I want to keep a track of. I meant to say track of. It's something I want to keep track of. But yeah, I'll just leave it. There's nothing else really to say about that. Just going to adjust this area up to its previous point because it's more in line with these recent bounces here. A bit higher than its previous point, actually. That doesn't really change anything in terms of potential setups. There are no potential setups there. USDJPY is in a bearish trend. It's not an extremely bearish trend. It's not even a trend that I would consider that significant, but it is in a bearish trend overall. But when I see these kinds of weak bearish trends, I'm always interested in kind of exploiting the pullbacks because weak trends tend to have a lot of pullbacks. So as this approaches this support area here, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bit of a pullback in this weak trend, and that would be potentially a nice trade. This probably won't happen until next week, so I'm just going to mark this and we'll monitor it. And this one's a long way off because think about what has to happen here. This is a daily chart. It needs to get all the way down to here, needs to stall out, and then needs to start turning around. So generally, that's going to be at the very least Monday, unless you're looking at lower time frames and it happens to push down very fast today. and then you look at the 8-hour chart, you might be able to catch a reversal, but it's unlikely that'll play out that way. So just keep an eye on that. So I'm going to unmark these ones that should have been closed out. I hope you guys, like I said, closed them out. And if there are any questions, please do ask them now while I do the summary, and then I'll answer the questions. So first of all, GBP USD, it's making a nice move up again after retracing yesterday. No reason not to hold on to this one, in my opinion. I'm going to be holding on. Just looks like a pretty solid trade. GBPCAD. This one didn't even retrace yesterday. This one's just a good solid trade. Makes complete sense to hold on to this one. Just go for it. GBP New Zealand. I think only one person I know of is actually in this trade, so there's no point really discussing anything there. Now, for potential setups, we've got AUDCAD stalling out on resistance, so there's potential for a short somewhere here. I just don't see that right now. It's just coming soon, let's say, with this short. I'd wait until tomorrow or probably Monday. You know, it's Thursday at this point, so most of the daily chart trades are not going to happen until Monday. We have to be realistic. So generally, Thursday's analysis on the daily charts is preparation for trading on Monday. Generally speaking, you know, some of them where they're imminent on Thursday, like indecision is formed and it's already started moving away from the support or resistance area, you could enter on Thursday, but most of these are not going to be until next week. Price pushing up to resistance on AUDUSD would be great, and I'd be looking for a short there. EURJPY, we're just waiting for price to stall out on this support area, if it even does that, which I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. GBPJPY, now this one is more of like a 4-hour chart trade, or even an hourly chart trade. Hourly chart's probably better. Just waiting for price to push up to resistance for a potential short from resistance here. And USDJPY, this one probably like Tuesday next week. Monday at the earliest, but probably Tuesday, Wednesday next week. We need it to make its way down to the support area, stall out, and then I'll be looking for a long there. Because it's a weak trend, I kind of want to trade that pullback. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the analysis, guys. There's not a whole lot, but you know, you have to keep in mind that we've had a lot of trades trigger. So when a lot of trades trigger, there's not much left. Not many potentials left. But that being said, there are some potentials left. My support resistance areas are up to date. They were updated on Tuesday. Or no, I'm just double checking they're updated on Monday. There any other questions, guys? All right, it doesn't look like there's any other questions, so I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys very much for attending, and I'll see you for Tuesday's analysis. But of course, if you remember, I will see you on the forum before then. So thank you guys for attending, and I'll catch you guys later.